Bugatti is synonymous with extreme performance, luxury, and exclusivity. It has produced some of the most sought-after and collectible cars in automotive history. While the brand enjoyed some racing success in the 1930s, it is the combination of rarity, engineering excellence, and historical significance that make Bugatti vehicles especially prized among collectors. Today, I briefly present 7 best examples. The Type 35 is one of the most successful race cars in history, with over 1,000 victories to its name. Its lightweight design, advanced engineering, and characteristic horseshoe grille made it a symbol of Bugatti's engineering excellence. The original Type 35 was powered by a 2-liter, 3-valve, single overhead cam inline-8 engine with 90 horsepower, paired to a 4-speed manual transmission. The Type 35C with a Roots supercharger developed 128 horsepower, while the Type 35TC, also known as Type 35B, paired a stroked 2.3-liter engine from the Type 35T with a supercharger to develop 138 horsepower. Today, cars with a proven racing history are extremely valuable. The Type 41, known as the Royale, was the final word on luxury in the 1920s. It was powered by a massive 12.8-liter, 3-valve, single overhead cam inline-8 engine with just under 300 horsepower paired to a 3-speed manual transmission. The weighty cast-iron engine has an integrated cylinder head. Interestingly, it has only 3 main bearings and a single carburetor. The Royale featured a gigantic chassis and was the largest vehicle on the road at the time. In the late 1920s, it already carried a base price tag of $30,000. Unsurprisingly, only 6 were built and 4 were sold, making the Royale one of the rarest and most expensive Bugattis. 2 of them can be seen at the Musée National de l'Automobile in France, alongside a 3rd replica built with original Bugatti parts. The Type 55 was a sports car that combined the chassis of the Type 54 Grand Prix car with a more refined road-going body. It was powered by a detuned 2.3-liter 2-valve double overhead cam inline-8 engine from the Type 51 paired to a 4-speed manual transmission. It came with a Roots supercharger and developed 130 horsepower. Designed by Jean Bugatti, the Type 55 is one of the most beautiful and rarest Bugatti road cars. With only 38 produced, its racing pedigree and design made it a collector's favorite. The Type 57 was a gorgeous Grand Tourer designed by Jean Bugatti. The Type 57 SC was a lowered variant with a supercharger, as the S and the C stood for surpressé and compresseur. The Type 57 SC Atlantic is often considered one of the most beautiful cars ever made, with its distinctive teardrop shape and riveted seams. It was an Art Deco masterpiece. Its power came from a supercharged 3.3-liter double overhead cam inline-8 engine. Only 4 were built, making it incredibly rare and valuable. The most significant unit was chassis number 57453 La Voiture Noire. It was Jean Bugatti's personal favorite and has been estimated to be worth over $100 million. However, it is unknown whether the car survived the war. After the death of Jean and Ettore Bugatti, the brand withered. Italian entrepreneur Romano Artioli acquired the brand in 1987 and hired the best Italian engineers and designers to work on a new car, which would become the EB110. Among them were Marcello Gandini and Paolo Stanzani, the main brains behind the legendary Lamborghinis, such as the Miura, Espada, and Countach. The result was a mid-engine hypercar powered by a 3.5-liter quad-turbo V12 that sends power to all four wheels via a 3-speed manual transmission. The EB110 GT had 553 horsepower, while the Supersport developed 603 horsepower, more than the Lamborghini Diablo of the time. It featured Gandini's trademark Caesar doors, and in all ways that mattered, was more Lamborghini than Lamborghini. The car was named after Ettore Lamborghini for his 110th birthday. The EB110 was a technological marvel of its time and was one of the fastest cars of the 1990s. In the 2000s, Volkswagen again revived the Bugatti brand with the Veyron EB16.4 in memory of Bugatti's main racing driver, Pierre Veyron, from the 1930s. It was powered by an 8-liter quad-turbo W16 engine that sends power to all four wheels via a 6-speed DCT. The base model had 987 horsepower, while the Veyron Supersport and Grand Sport Vitesse, which was the roadster variant, had 1,183 horsepower or 1,200 PS. While the car was rather heavy and the engine inefficient, it was the fastest production car of its time. With fewer than 50 units produced, the Veyron Supersport is already becoming a modern classic. The Chiron was an evolution of the Veyron, this time in memory of Louis Chiron, another racing driver of Bugatti from the 1930s. While the base model had 1,479 horsepower, the Supersport version developed 1,578 horsepower or 1,600 PS. With limited production numbers, cutting-edge technology, and immense power, special editions like the Chiron Supersport and its variants are expected to be particularly valuable in the future. Standard models, however, will be hindered by relatively high production numbers on the collector's market.